Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy comedians and the comedy industry, a sentence the algorithm really likes. Pete Davidson's got a new thing on Netflix. They're calling it a podcast. Johnny Mack says, in no way whatsoever is that a podcast. Vulture has weighed in on this. They write, though billed as a Netflix podcast, the Pete Davidson Show doesn't feel like a podcast in any conventional sense. And they go on to write, it's got some stuff in common with a podcast. There's a host and a guest, and their chairs are vaguely facing each other, and they're just having a conversation. Some people think that's what a podcast is. Vulture writes, but is the Pete Davidson Show actually a podcast? I'll answer, no. But they say, well, it's podcast-ish in that it nominally invokes the medium's familiar tropes. But that doesn't answer the question. A simple thought experiment helps. If the Pete Davidson Show had been produced by a different entity and distributed elsewhere, it would register as a good-looking, high-end celebrity podcast. But as a show produced by and distributed exclusively on Netflix, it's difficult to beat the charters. The Pete Davidson Show is less a podcast than a piece of cheap television, and it should be judged on those terms. But here's the crux, and here's where this is going to get interesting. Forget about what Johnny Mack feels a podcast is or not. And you can read my Substack. It's free. Link in the notes. I write about this every week. But Vulture gets to the point. As cheap television, the Pete Davidson Show offers Netflix a path towards producing more content at a far lower cost. Okay, fine, but stay with me. Largely independent of the entrenched Hollywood systems that have developed over time to protect the below-the-line workers who traditionally work on talk shows that compete in this space. It's hard not to view the Pete Davidson Show as some kind of trial balloon to see if anyone notices or cares. Vulture writes, for what it's worth, Netflix's shenanigans with the original podcast labels not going completely unnoticed. According to this article, a union rep told Puck's Matt Maloney, SAG and Netflix continue to have discussions regarding the Pete Davidson project. Vulture calls that a notably diplomatic way of saying the union is working to figure out what this thing is, whether Netflix is using the podcast designation to sidestep obligations it would otherwise have for a talk show built around a Hollywood talent who makes movies and series with union labor. Very, very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Are you familiar with the musicians, the Red Clay Strays? A lot of comedians are into them. They went on social media and let people know that something is coming soon, and the something has something to do with Matt Rife. There's a teaser, and we see Matt Rife sitting on a bus. Everyone's like, what's Matt Rife doing on the bus in the teaser? Fans are mixed. One wrote, Matt Rife and the Red Clay Strays, I'm in. Someone else wrote, I love the Red Clay Strays, but not sure what to make of Matt Rife. Why him? No one knows. Will there be a music video that features Matt Rife? Stay tuned. Craig Ferguson is going to tour the United States of America. He'll be working with CNN, celebrating the USA's 250th birthday. Boy, time goes fast. I remember crystal clearly sitting in Battery Park, New York City, with my mother on July 4th, 1776. I'm leaving that in. 1976. I'm not that old. I'm leaving that in. 1976. Me and Mom, July 4th, 1976. I had my July 4th Frisbee, which sadly I lost in the 80s. I lost it at the Sheridan Pool, and I don't know what happened to it. Wish I still had it. But anyway, Mom and the cute kid with the Frisbee, we were on the local WCBS Channel 2 News. I digress. That's 50 years ago, that story, John, and it wasn't that good. I know. Craig Ferguson. He'll be hosting America on Purpose, in which Craig Ferguson unpacks the country's chaotic, triumphant, and controversial 250-year journey of independence. We're told Craig Ferguson explores the identity of the country he now calls home after becoming a proud citizen in 2008, digging into its freedoms, contradictions, and cultural quirks. The journey takes him from monster truck rallies to Ellis Island and beyond, combining American history with his signature wit and playfulness to meet the moment of the nation's 250th anniversary. Craig said, any chance I get to remind my fellow Americans that we are still the best idea for a country anyone has ever had, I'm going to take it. My eagle is still bald, and my banner is still spangled with stars. From Fox News, comedian Steve Trevino thinks Hollywood has turned its back on him because of his conservative values, including his promotion of family, faith, and country. With all due respect to Mr. Trevino, I think you're wrong here, but let's hear him out. He was on the Like a Farmer podcast. Steve Trevino questioned why he was not offered another Netflix deal after his 2024 special, Steve Trevino, Simple Man. Steve said, Hollywood does not like us. Hollywood does not want anything to do with us, and it's unfortunate, right? I was top 5, numbers-wise. I beat 35 of them. I believe that refers to 35 other comedy specials. All the ones I beat are getting offers again. I did not get another one. Trevino recalled an experience with Amazon Prime Video. He claimed in that he was asked to remove a moment from a project in which he thanked U.S. military members. According to Steve, they said, "Can Steve not thank the troops at the end? It's too political." And I'm like, how is thanking the men and women who serve political? So you have to wonder, is it because I'm conservative? Is it because I love this country? Is it because I promote family? Is it because I promote God? Now, I've been in the media for how long is it now? 34 years professionally. Jeez, I'm old. I've never, ever run into anyone who said, you can't thank the troops. In fact, I was talking about this with my friend Bill at the brewery the other night during trivia night. We finished 4th, by the way. You know why? Hey, trivia guys, you guys listening? You know why we did well? You guys didn't have those Ariana Grande questions. You asked a lot of old man questions. There was like history questions in there. That's why the old guys did okay. We would have finished 3rd, but Johnny Mack said, let's gamble on one of the answers in the 5th round there, and we got it wrong. So we didn't win plastic sunglasses or whatever. I digress. I've never run into the media conspiracies. I've never had, hey, you can't talk about that. I've never seen the great conservative conspiracy. I've never seen the great liberal conspiracy. I've never run into the don't thank the troops people. Maybe I've just been fortunate. Anyway, Steve Trevino says, stand-up pays the bills, and if Netflix doesn't want to give us another offer, we'll figure it out. We always do. Speaking of the troops, Gabe Iglesias was just over in Japan. He did a series of shows for the USO. Army.mil tells us during his hour-long set, Gabe Iglesias riffed on familiar topics like family and food, but he also had humorous, slightly off-color bits tailored to his host nation audience, whether expressing his amazement at how nice Japanese toilets are, or recounting his memorable experiences at airport customs and local ramen spots. Gabe Iglesias used his loud and energetic delivery to punctuate each story with his signature brand of punchlines. Sergeant Gage Cicino is a self-professed comedy enthusiast. He said, I've been watching him since I was a kid. To see him live was an honor, and I think everyone can agree it was a good time with good laughs. Sergeant Cicino, he's with the 901 Military Police Detachment. I thank you for your service, both genuinely and to prove there's no conspiracy against thanking the military for their service. Sergeant Ramar Downer, who I will also thank, called the show hilarious. Sergeant Downer said, I really appreciate that they put on shows like this for us because it's great for the troops. Sergeant Downer is assigned to the 88th MP Detachment. It shows that they support the soldiers. It was also great to hear the comics thanking us throughout the show. Gabe Iglesias said, I'm here because I want to be here. I love performing for the military, and I look forward to coming back. Oh, my voice is wearing out. That Super Bowl preview, that long episode from Saturday, I did that one right before this one, and I still have to record Comedy Survivor, which is coming up at noon Eastern today. We will find out who was voted off the island. I don't know. I haven't recorded it yet. But the Comedy Survivor Elimination Show will be in this very feed at noon Eastern today. I also have to record the Weekly Comedy Thing, which is a show I host on the Live One app. The app is free. The show is free. That show is kind of like this, except I can play stand-up comedian bits, like in full. Like I can go, here's a story about Gabe Iglesias, and then I could play a Gabe Iglesias clip. You know, I can do that kind of thing over there. So I still have to record that. It's called the Weekly Comedy Thing. It's on the Live One app if you want to check that out. Matt Friend has a new gig. He'll be on the red carpet for the Academy Awards. He's very excited about it. He'll have a spot for talent interviews. Matt Rife's career seems to be going okay, just like his impressions. Ron Funches was a part of the cast of this season of Traitors. I'm going to spoil Traitors. If you're not caught up, you might want to bail here. Ron Funches has been sharing some stories about Traitors during his stand-up shows. Okay, everybody who's still here, you're going to be spoiled. He explains, I approached the game as if I was a detective. I wanted to come from a data-driven approach. Once I arrived, I realized I only knew 1 or 2 people, which I thought to be a detriment socially, but as far as being impartial, it was the best way to be, because I didn't have any knowledge or love for any of the people. I'd look for things that looked like inconsistencies in their work. I then thought about being more direct with people who I would try to accuse of being the traitor, but after that point, it became more of defending myself. Any accusations I had were based off people being like, prove to us that you're not the traitor. Who do you think it is? And I'd be like, well, I heard light footsteps, so it might be the smallest girl here. Me, myself, I wouldn't have considered that enough evidence, but if you guys are going to force me to say something, I'll say something. Ron Funches said, the only thing I would have done differently is I wish I hadn't cursed. Eugene Merman, he's part of that Bob's Burgers conspiracy. You know this one where people pretend Bob's Burgers is a show? If you're new to the show, I'll quickly explain it to you. Here, let me ask you, new listener. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? The answer is no, right? Yeah, okay. I understand there's artwork. I understand there's merch. I understand that Kevin Burkhardt will say after this football game, it's an all-new Bob's Burgers. But Kevin Burkhardt and Fox and Eugene Merman and everyone else in this conspiracy knows we don't stay on Fox. We switch over and watch Sunday Night Football. This is all just a gag, and they've been doing this for over a decade and a half. But what does exist is Eugene Merman's new comedy album, Here Comes the Whimsy. That's out on PGF Records. There's also a special on Veeps. Here Comes the Whimsy was recorded live in Somerville. Merman shares a series of mild grievances through anecdotes from fatherhood, insights from travel, dress code trauma, rental car disputes, and more. And I'm seeing a lot of good buzz on Jury Duty, too. Remember Jury Duty a couple years ago? The guy thought he was on jury duty, but it was all fake. They've made a new season of that, but this one is called Jury Duty Presents Company Retreat. 3 episodes will be out on March 20th on Prime Video. Company Retreat will follow a corporate offsite event at a family-owned hot sauce company from the perspective of Anthony, a recently hired temporary worker. Unbeknownst to Anthony, the entire experience is staged. Every colleague around him is performing a role, and each moment, whether in conference rooms or during downtime, has been meticulously orchestrated. Sounds like a lot of fun. Now, speaking of jury duty, I've been invited to be on jury. That's coming up in a couple weeks. That's not good. I have podcasts to record. Kind of stressed about that one. And it's district court. I have to call like 2 weeks in a row. Guys, I got stuff to do. So let's hope the jury duty gods are kind to Johnny Mack. And that is your comedy news for today. Back at noon Eastern for Comedy Survivor, which I'm about to record right now. So I got to save my voice. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes, I guess.